Right. Wait, John also posted this. Wait, John just scraped this from a CSS of joke feeds.
That's right.
I'm on to you.
Don't have to write anything myself.
That's right. Hey, we're live. All right.
Nice.
Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 241. Unlike what I said last week when I said 239, apparently we got off by a number a couple of weeks ago. So 241 is the correct number this week. Not that anyone keeps track. Your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek. We do read all super chats on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat, and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my OnlyFans exclusive access to my Discord channel, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and take part in the awesome community that hangs out over there.
I was going to say, you can't take into that's my territory, Jeff. You can't enter that field yet.
Right. Sorry, didn't mean to, cross the streams.
Step on my toe. Yeah, you can't do that. We don't cross streams here.
Don't cross streams. Welcome to the show, everyone. First and foremost, John, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Just helping family out right now. They're going through some just changes in their lives and having to help other family members. So we're babysitting the kids a lot. So it just gets tiring.
Yep.
It's always just like, all right, cooking for more people now, and got to make sure to get back from work and just stuff like that,
Yep.
And then with the new weather, it's harder to put the kid to sleep. The sun's not going down as fast. It's his bedtime at 8:30, and it's still bright outside. And he's like, "Why do I have to go to bed?" Well, you have to go to bed.
Yeah. Little Bit's been trying that lately, but the sun is still up. I can't see the stars. Well, the sun gets to stay up late in the summer. Well, why can't I stay up late?
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, but we still play when the sun's up. Like, yeah, I know, but.
All right. Excuse me. I do have a dump button tonight because, as you can tell, I'm a little bit under the weather. But I'm trying my best to get through it. This is the most I've talked all day. Anyway, we do have one big announcement for the channel, mainly around this show, as next week we will be changing time slots. What? Talking Heads has pretty much always been at 8 p.m. Pacific time. However, that puts Talking Heads at a significant disadvantage because who the hell was awake then? It's not a great time slot. It's never been a great time slot. It was just kind of the one that worked. And we got talking about it, and I was tired of missing all the East Coast people because, well, it's 11 o'clock over there already. We will be moving back 2 hours to 6 p.m. Pacific time, starting on July 6th. That is next Wednesday. So, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell everyone you know. Start watching.
Yeah, so now you can have your dinner and watch Craft Computing at the same time.
Yep. Unfortunately, that means the Australians won't quite be off work yet, I don't think. Like, it cuts into their afternoon, but hopefully we'll, kind of... sorry, UK, it's even earlier in the morning for you guys, but, like, I can only do so much. Like, I can't stream at 11 a.m. It just doesn't work. So, but yeah, 6 p.m., is going to be the new start time for Talking Heads, starting next Wednesday, July 6th. So mark it down.
Keep that in mind. We'll probably keep shouting that out on all of our social media accounts. So if you follow one of us, you'll probably at least hear it again.
Yep. Oh, all right. Third thing, and probably the most important, what do we got on tap tonight?
That's a good point. So
Lord and Baron
yeah.
and
Yes, ordained minister, ordained by Miller Lite.
Yeah. How many other titles do you have strung
I need to
out?
get more. I know.
Lord Baron Hops and Brews.
So, hey, you know,
first and foremost, thank you for blessing us with your presence tonight.
May the hops be with you, and also with you.
Also with you.
I'm going to be having Greater Good. Their Citra, a Belgian-inspired hazy IPA. So it's a Belgian yeast Citra hazy IPA. They call it just a regular IPA, but it's 9%. So I would think that classifies as a double.
Nice, yeah.
Kind of odd, but okay.
Very cool. I'm not sure which one I want to go with first.
I don't know.
I think I'm going to go hazy first. Those usually go better a little bit colder. So I've got a very odd named beer, and John, see if you can help me out with this one. This is from Ex Novo, so Portland, Oregon. I believe they also brew down in New Mexico, but this one is from the Portland Brewery. This one is the Pre-Prohibition Hazy.
What?
Pre-Prohibition Hazy.
It doesn't make any sense.
I know. So it is a hazy IPA. It's Citra and Nectarone hops. So I don't know if the Nectarone possibly has something to do with it being
I was going to say Citra hops is not pre.
No, those are very recent.
A yeast strain that they're using.
Yeah, there's no description on this beer. 6.7% and a Surgeon General's warning. That's all we got. So I haven't looked this up at all, but pre-Prohibition hazy.
There's not much of a description anywhere, actually.
Big Spoon chiming in first for 99 cents with a goat, I believe that was. If I scroll back up here. Oh no, it's a
nope, it's a unicorn.
It's a unicorn. All right. I'm not the greatest of all time. I'm just fancy. And then giving SPX Labs a shout out, yo, for $2. And also, hello, SPX Labs. He said he wasn't going to make it, but here he is, staying up till the wee hours of the morning. Or the late hours of... it's not last call yet, but... but hey, great to see you.
This is good.
But I don't care what they call that. That is tasty. Oh my gosh.
I might have to pick one of those up. That's just an interesting sounding beer.
Yeah. It is not completely opaque. There's definitely some light shining through it. Oh, that's delicious. Oh, wow. It reminds me very much of a shandy. It's very, very light, little bit of fruitiness to it. Little citrusy. Think like a mandarin orange. It's kind of like that type of like really deep sweet citrus or blood orange or something like that. That is good. I really like that. Novella Hub says, John will be drinking holy water tonight.
I should get some of that. That would be good. Can I bless this beer now, technically?
I believe you could.
All of my beverages could be holy?
Yeah, I mean, here's the downside, though. You're blessing them on the behest of Coors Light.
Miller, but yeah.
Or Miller Lite, yeah. Because that's who you're ordained through, so... You're a representative of the Church of Miller Lite. Do you really want to go around blessing your beers?
Could I curse other people's beers then?
Ooh.
Be like, I curse Miller Lite upon you.
You probably could.
I hope your IPA tastes as delicious as a Miller Lite. I beseech thee.
Yeah. All right, couple of beer shout-outs, and we will jump into the show here.
We did get one more super chat from Harley.
Oh,
cool. And he's having $5, so thank you. Cheers there. He's having Adventurous Warrior Double IPA. By
Adventurous Brewing.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, let me scroll back up. William, I believe, was the first one that checked in. He's got an Urban Roots Brewing Perpetual Journey Saison, 7%. Let's see.
Cheers.
I've got a 1 liter of Mountain Dew. That's from Jeremy. Michael says mango nectar and Brazilian rum. Ooh. You know, nectar is a very underrated mixer. Like fruit nectars that you get from the grocery store and whatnot. I use them as bases for a lot of smoothies. They're fantastic for that, but for like rum drinks, I think they're very underutilized. Just my 2 cents. I stole them from Jay.
Bella Hub's having a Surly Brewing Neon Pixel Hazy IPA, 7.2%.
Nice. Yep. Let's see. I saw something else. Century UK. It's 4 a.m. here in the UK with my vending machine hot chocolate. You know, I lived off vending machine coffee and hot chocolate for years in college and everything else. Yeah.
I think Jason is having a Deschutes Haze-Tron Imperial IPA. I did a review on that one.
Nice. Okay. I actually have not had that one yet. How was it?
Yeah. It's got we were talking about can art. It's got really cool retro 80s can art.
Mm-hmm.
So I really dug the can art.
Ooh, I was going to make that the last one, but I'm going to do one more shout out. Will has a Moscow Mule with homemade ginger syrup and real lemon juice.
Ooh.
That man knows how to roll. Good stuff. I've actually never made my own ginger syrup. It's something that I've wanted to do, like, you know, condense it down, and I think that could be a lot of fun. Might have to just bite the bullet and do that. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the news. Starting with Doom checks one more off the bucket list. There's one more device that you can now play Doom on, and it's technically a device that has played Doom before, just not like this. So what started as a PC game and has been ported to everything has made a glorious return to a PC, but playing off your motherboard's BIOS chip. Let me say that again. Doom is now playable off of your motherboard's BIOS chip. So this is actually a pretty astonishing feat, because BIOS chips are usually fairly small as far as storage goes. And so you've only got like some early Ryzen boards were only 16 megs of BIOS storage, of like total ROM storage. And so getting not only the framework for Doom up and running, but enough that like I suppose it's possible to get like FreeDOS and everything inside of a 16 megabyte package, but I'm still very impressed.
I mean, it's become now more of a challenge for people to see what can we get Doom to run on. I mean, that's been the running kind of joke going on for how many times have we talked about another thing Doom's done, you know, or been run on. But this one's pretty funny. But they end up always all become funny. What was it? The last one was off of an alarm clock, or no, it was a smart. Wasn't a smart lamp?
Yeah, the IKEA smart lamp or the smart bulb or something like that.
Yeah, something like
that. The pregnancy test, I believe, turned out to be a hoax. It was it was a black and white video that was playing on the pregnancy test. But there is a version of Doom that they condensed down to run inside of a Lego brick. That's been the newest one that's been going around. Hey, TechnoChim and Jeff Geerling in chat. Both giving a shout out, and TechnoTim sending $5 my way. Thank you very much. That pays for this pint, my good sir. And Geerling has some leftover iced tea. You know, I'll give that a woo as well.
We got another shout out from Tech Geek too.
Yes, I was just getting to that. Tech Geek sends over $150. Thank you so much. Evening Gents replaced a Cisco ASA with a new Meraki firewall at work, changed the whole network layout, and managed not to break anything. Finishing up tomorrow and installing some cameras finally at my house tonight. Got an orange crush. See you both. Cheers to you both. Number one, congrats on a firewall rollover. Those are never fun. They're never, regardless of your planning, they're never as trivial as you think they are. I've done dozens upon dozens of firewall rollovers from one vendor to another vendor, or one piece of software to another piece of software. Like, it never goes smoothly. There's always something that's a gotcha. There's always a service that you discover, like, why is this, like, a really obscure port forwarded to, like, one device inside my network? And then you find out it's for, like, your tertiary alarm backup or something like that. And there's always so many weird and obscure things inside firewalls, especially the more complicated your network gets. There's always something to miss. So hopefully you actually didn't miss anything. But double check and double check. And yeah, Geerling, I shouted out SPX Labs earlier, so yeah, we're getting rated here. I like it.
I know.
Thank you all for showing up. Let's see. So yeah, Doom runs on everything.
I know. It's basically, if you have a device and you can't make it run Doom, you're pathetic and weak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's basically it.
In some slightly disappointing news, I will say, now this is so far being reported. I have not verified this, but I thought it was at least worth making a mention. Oh no, Valve has confirmed it. Okay, sorry, I did not see that little addendum down here. I don't know if that was in here when I originally read the article. Anyway, Valve apparently is making some changes to the 256 and 512 gigabyte SKUs of the Steam Deck. Before, they were pretty much guaranteeing a PCI Express NVMe Gen 3x4 SSD. However, some purchasers noticed that some devices are being shipped out with only 2x drives. That is half of the allotted bandwidth. So instead of getting 3,300 megabytes per second, you're capped at less than 2,000 megabytes per second. Now, is this really a big deal? I don't think so. Here's why. Yes, Valve originally announced that the specs were for an X4 lane, for an X4 Gen 3 PCI Express NVMe drive. And I get where some people would be irritated when they pre-ordered a device, paid full price for it, receive it, and now their NVMe drive is only half the bandwidth that Valve originally promised. However, when you consider the use case of this device, it's really not that big of a deal. And in fact, I think the only way you're going to notice is if you thoroughly benchmark your SSD. Because I don't think it's going to make a flying F as far as difference in-game goes. The reason I say that is my Steam Deck loads games almost as quickly off a micro SD card as it does off that Gen 3x4 SSD that I've got. So, while yes, the PC enthusiasts among us are probably going to be fairly upset by numbers getting lower, by measuring contests not quite measuring up the way they used to, so to speak. But what impact does this have on the performance and the user experience of the Steam Deck itself? I would say it's probably less than 3% in actual use, and I would say that's pretty negligible when you're talking about a mass-produced product. There were Xboxes that were distributed with multiple versions of disk drives and multiple versions of hard drives, and they all have advantages and disadvantages. There are some that were 10% faster in read times. There's PlayStations that have gone through this. There's every mass-produced... Heck, we've talked about iPhones and storage speed of the NAND flash that your iPhone happens to get. And if it's Samsung or Elecom or Micron or whoever made the NAND flash, and they go, well, this iPhone is 15% faster than the other one. You know why Apple didn't care? Because it doesn't make a difference to the user experience. And I feel that's going to be the case here. Now, anyone is free to refute that or dispute my view on that. But you also have to remember we're not necessarily dealing with a high-performance PC here. We're dealing with what is essentially a handheld games console.
It's a nice laptop.
Right.
Not even that, but yeah.
I mean, it's decent laptop specs.
Yeah.
But for the form factor it is, and the designed use case of the Steam Deck, I don't think this is really even a flash in the pan of an issue. So, but yes, Valve did say that 256 and 512 gig models may ship now with PCI Express Gen 3 by 2 SSDs instead of Gen 3 by 4 SSDs. But in testing, they did not see any impact to gaming performance between X2 and X4. And there have been numerous tests done, even between like 500 megabyte per second SATA SSDs versus NVMe, and are your game's performance affected? And the only time it's going to be affected is for super high demand, open world, high asset resolution games. But even then, most of the time, the textures that you need are loaded to video memory anyway. And so your initial load time from storage to video memory might be slower, but by the time you actually need to use that memory, you're already in RAM. So, not that big a deal.
Yeah, I know. I guess it just because I didn't see the article saying that it apologized or just clarified the statement. Now it's saying that there are two different models and to just go check. Mm-hmm. I guess to me, the only disappointing, I agree with you, it's not that big of a deal. It really shouldn't be that big of a deal. But just a nice statement saying something that's going out, hey, this happened. Even like you're saying, if it's not that big of a deal, you know, here's $20 or a gift card or proof of purchase, and we'll send you X as a little bit of, hey, we're sorry, it was our fault, we didn't announce it, we messed up a little bit. But it's not that big of a deal, like you said. But I still think with Valve being that big of a company, some form of an just acknowledgement of the mess up.
This may come up later on as some kind of class action suit, but when you consider the value in the SSDs themselves, think about a 2230 SSD. I mean, these are fairly small SSDs. A 256 is like $50.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I said, like $20 or something.
What's an X2? It's like $40.
Yeah.
And that's not even like, that's you buying that drive at retail. That's not the value to Valve. And right now, it's likely due to needing to source multiple vendors because, ready to blow everyone's minds here, when you mass produce a product like the Steam Deck, or like the Switch, or like the iPhone, you have multiple vendors that have varying quality standards or varying specifications that they try to match, but the reason they're two different vendors is they're two different vendors. And they may be slightly different, but if it doesn't affect the end product, then it doesn't affect the end product. Which is why sometimes you get Apple laptops with Samsung memory, and sometimes you get it with Micron memory. And is there a measurable difference in benchmarks? Sure. Is there a measurable difference in day-to-day use? Probably not. Or not to the extent that it should cause an issue.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I think even just, but still an acknowledgement. And even, I mean, like you said, that for their cost, it's probably negligible, but maybe to not have it be a class action lawsuit, to be like, hey, here's a $10 or $20 gift card for Steam, some game in Steam or something, because that's really, it's not going to hit their profit that hard. Just to be like, we're sorry.
Have you seen the Steam sales?
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
They don't give a flying F about $10.
Yeah. So but you do that as just to save face. You also do it to be like, we're sorry, we did mess up. We can't do anything about it, but this is the new direction we're going to have to go from now on.
Tell you what, everyone who bought a Steam Deck gets a $10 Steam buck voucher.
Yeah, something like that.
Problem
That's all
solved.
it is. Problem solved. That's all. Yep. That's all it would be. That's all you'd have to say, something like that. And I will tell you right now, the community would be happy, and nothing further would happen. I don't think something further will happen from this, but like you said, it could if it's not addressed.
Right.
So maybe.
Yep. Yeah. If what I think is Valve does need to get in front of this, learn from PR mistakes of the past, and don't let this become a well, what else aren't they telling us about? Because I, from a logistical standpoint, understand multiple vendors, multiple use cases, and does it impact the actual end quality of the device you're manufacturing and selling? And if the answer is no, then it should be negligible. The problem is that Valve published the SSD specs of a PCI Express Gen 3x4, and then by later switching it, they are in violation of some buyer-seller agreements, supposedly. So, I mean, these are the things that class action lawsuits are made and settled on. And, if you bought a Steam Deck and it goes that far, congratulations, you'll get a $3 check in 3 years. That's all this is going to happen. So.
Sorry. On the Discord, there was a video posted. It's kind of funny. Of us.
Yep. Yeah, and Emil points out probably more to do with the fact that the shorter 2242 NVMe drives are extremely limited, with only a few manufacturers making them. And yeah, that's because of the NAND flash chips that have to go on top of them. You have to have some of the higher density 512 gigabit flash chips to get the capacities that they're requiring. So, yeah. Limited vendors and needing to, cut corners to make your final goal. Honestly, if there's a corner to cut, it's probably SSD speed, because, like I said, my micro SD card loads games almost as quick as my NVMe drive, and on paper, they're not even comparable. But like I said, by the time your game actually needs them, the textures and vertices, they're already in RAM. That's what video memory is for. Only the initial transfer of the assets to RAM is what matters as far as transfer speed in gaming. So, not to completely give Valve an out, but I also understand.
Yeah, no, I mean, I still agree with your point. I just said I think a quick something would be funny. Or no, sorry, I'm talking with Tech Geek.
I know.
I accidentally said holy monkey instead of holy monk. It's just like, oh man, it was funny.
I think you just earned a new role on the Discord.
Holy monkey.
Holy monkey. Holy hot monkey. There's something to be said for that. All right. What else do we got?
That's a beer name, isn't it? Or that's the golden monkey.
Yeah. All right. What else we got going on?
Let's see.
Sorry, I just pulled up the Discord chat for a second. Loresi, I don't know how you say it. Jeff is plenty smart. Just look at his golf hat. That's a hat of someone who knows some stuff. But how do you explain Linus wearing it lately? All hail Holy Monkey Hops and Brews. Thank you, Tech Geek. Do I need to get you a smart car to drive around in now?
With like glass, a Pope screen.
Don't you have a little Mercedes Power Wheel that we could court you around in?
I could probably just like control it, and I'll put like a plexiglass cage around it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Anyway.
Funky Monkey and I gotta go get a Funky Monk and Holy Monk.
Yeah. Did we just start an inner Discord war? No, I already called out Linus on him stealing my hats. Like, these are my hats, dang it. Anyway, moving right along. Intel Arc graphics. To this point, they've really only been... they've been very, very minimally distributed. But there are some discrete cards that you can get your hands on. And I will say, if this leaked benchmark is anything to go off of, I'm less impressed than I thought I was going to be. So, Intel's Arc A380, which is their first release to manufacture GPU, shows that it is roughly 15% slower than a 3-year-old GPU. Comparing it against the GTX 1650, and you could also say the 6400, or, there's a couple other cards that you could toss in there. RX 570, it comes to mind. So, I'm not quite sure exactly what to think yet, because while I am a little underwhelmed by those numbers, the article does point out that Intel's results are from a 75-watt TDP card that doesn't have a PCI Express power connector on board. There are versions of the A380 which can come with either a 6 or 8-pin PCI Express power connector and be offered up to 80 or 87 watts with up to 350 megahertz faster boost clocks. So that's not insignificant. That right there is over 15% of the actual boost clock. Closer to 20% of performance if it scales laterally, or linearly, rather. So, honestly, while this PC Gamer article is a little... It feels like it wants to hate the Intel card, I'm actually coming from this as, I was hoping for more, but at the same time, keep in mind, the 1650 is also an 80-watt TDP card. And we're looking at the 75-watt TDP card right now, not the 80 or the 87-watt TDP card. And if we add that 15 to 20% of faster boost clocks onto that, You're telling me that Intel's very first RTM card, at the low end, at the same wattage points, competes with a 1650 at equal power draw? I'm actually kind of encouraged by that.
No, I mean, you can still play decently on a 1650. Like
totally
70% of the games out there right now.
Who hated the 1650 when it was released?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't have one.
Sorry, that's a joke. Because everyone did except me. But now we're looking at it going, that's not that terrible. So.
No, I mean, it's a decently priced car. It's a decently priced entry card. You're talking like 199-esque. And if this is comparable to that, and what'd you say, 60? How much wattage power is it consuming?
Roughly on par with the 1680 or 1650. So the version that was tested was 75 watt, which is the non-supplemental power version. There's also an 80 and an 87 watt. But if you look at the clock speeds, there's a 2000 megahertz clock speed limit on the 75 watt card. There's an unlocked limit on the ones with 6 or 8 pin power connectors, which ups the boost clock to 2250 or 2350. And again, that's almost a 20% improvement in clock speeds. So the fact that we have this benchmark right here and the GTX 1650 is an 80 watt TDP card, it's actually kind of safe to assume that at 87 watts, we might be matching that performance. Now, that's still higher power draw, but we're in the ballpark. And I don't think these are honestly all that underwhelming or, disappointing as far as numbers go.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, the article did kind of come off. Because I remember when I first read it earlier today, it was coming off like, oh, this is a big disappointment. But when you put it like that, it's like, you're absolutely right. It's really not that bad. It's like, hey, here's probably going to be a very cheap card or something that'll be embedded into, a laptop or something micro-wise that's drawing very little power, especially the 75 watt one. And you're going to be fine. You're going to be able to play a lot of your games on it. So actually, it's kind of encouraging because it's probably going to be put into a lot of small built-in laptops or tablets or something.
Right.
More laptops.
No, this is an add-in card. This is a PCI Express card that you add into entry-level gaming desktops. Yeah, no, this is a full PCI Express expansion.
Oh, okay.
Intel is going to be developing embedded solutions as well. But no, this is their actual Arc A380 PCI Express card. This is their actual gaming, first release of a gaming card.
That's fine. I mean, and the only downside is price, and that's not talked about in this article.
Right. It's not released for retail sale. It is only available through OEMs as an add-on option. So HP, Dell, and they're mainly aiming for mid-level workstation kind of tiers right now. But
I'm just because when we with this, I'm thinking the pre-built gaming PCs. This is I wouldn't be surprised if something like Walmart does a contract with them to be like, this is going to be the graphics card they use, as they rebrand their brand from Dell or whatever. I forget what their stupid Walmart gaming brand is called.
Yeah,
On or something like that.
Let me pull up a couple interesting things real quick.
Because they do a lot of HP stuff, and I would have figured it was.
So, I just went ahead and pulled up the Intel Arc A380. Okay, if we go down here, this is the important thing to pay attention to: is the execution cores, the XE cores, as they call them. There are 8 XE cores inside of here. And they run at 2000 megahertz at the TDP of 75 watts. However, there are boost variants faster than that, up to 2350 and 87 watts. 6 gigabytes of GDDR6, which is actually higher than the competition at 1650 with 4 gigs, as well as the 6400 RX AMD card with 4 gigs. So we're getting more memory, faster memory, and potentially similar or faster performance for roughly the same wattage. Now, let me bring up a PDF that is Intel's fact sheet about some other upcoming data center cards based on Intel Arc technology. This is codename Arctic Sound, and this is a publicly accessible press release paper that you can grab yourself. They have 2 different cards coming out. They have a 150 watt option, which has 32 execution cores, or roughly 4 times the performance. They also have a 75 watt option with 16 execution cores. Now, obviously, this isn't going to scale linearly because we're talking about 4 times the cores, but only double the power draw. But these are based for servers and are going to be more for artificial intelligence learning or machine learning, cloud gaming, VDI, all that kind of stuff. But this shows that in existence, we already have cores from Intel that have 4 times the core count of this A380. Which means if we get like a 250 watt gaming variant, which is kind of what NVIDIA does with a lot of their things, like we'll, looking back at like the Pascal line of cards, we had the GTX 1080 and 1080 Ti. We also had the NVIDIA Tesla P40, which was based off the same GPU die, but was limited to 250 watts, whereas you can crank 350 or 400 into a 1080 Ti. And I'm paraphrasing those numbers. I know they were lower than that. But you add a limited number or limited wattage because it was supposed to run in a data center at a fixed clock speed at a known stability versus a gaming card, which you can push to the bleeding edge. So we already know that some things exist. Oh, and check out this bad self.
Oh yeah.
Do you see what I see?
My screen's a little blurry on yours, so I can't see it.
I see 2 dies.
Look at that.
I see 2 dies. I see one big card with one big chip, and I see one slightly smaller card with 2 kind of little chips. So this is going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to be interested to see what Intel's roadmap actually ends up being, what the release cycle ends up being. And I really want to get my hands on an A380 and find out, how does it actually perform?
Well, that's the nice thing. I don't think a lot of people are probably going to want to have this or try this. I mean, I think they will because it's Intel's first, Arc for the gaming graphics cards.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like you said, the way that this article is framed, I'm betting people probably won't want to try this. Or if they do, they might look at it as, it's not really worth it. There are so many other better cards out there for $100 more. But for the budget gamer, $100 is a lot.
Yeah. That's
the thing. Plus, too, this might bring down the price of like a GTX 650.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be competing with it. And so they're going to want to somehow compete with it. It might drop $20-$30. So you never know.
So Novella Hub pointed out that this could make for a pretty killer little Plex machine. One thing here. There we go. I'm going to bring up this slide one more time. So this is again from that same PDF. Multi-purpose GPUs for data center workloads. These new XE graphics cards come with AV1 hardware encoding. That's the new hotness. Like the heck with X265 and H264. AV1. I'm pretty sure that sound you're all hearing right now is Epos Vox having a stroke.
Although I don't know if those 2 cores are going to be the 75 watt ones. I bet those would probably be a little bit more of the 80 ones.
Right. No. So we're not sure what. Well, we do know that the A380 has 8 execution cores. We don't know if they're 16 core chips that have been cut down to 8 because of binning. We don't know if they're just cut into 8. We also don't know what the 16 chips entail. Are they actually 2 8s? Are they a single 16? Are they shared bus? There's so much of the infrastructure we don't know about Intel's roadmap as far as this GPU rollout goes. I'm hoping to know more in the very near future. But for right now, all we can do is look at the PDFs and look at the specs and kind of guess. From this chart I'm looking at, we know the 75 watt card has 16 execution cores. This may have 2 8-core units on it. And based on what I'm seeing, let me zoom in there, that totally appears valid. 2 8-core dies. I don't know if they're shared GPU or shared memory. I don't know if there's some kind of SLI going on. I don't know if they're recognized as 2 separate cards, or if Intel finally figured out how to cross memory with different things. But what I do know is that the bigger card, the 150 watt, only has a single die, and it is a significantly larger die, and it has at least an 8-pin PCI Express on the back, if not an EPS connector, as are actually a little bit more common in data center use. But video transcode, up to 30 1080p streams, up to 40 plus game streams in cloud gaming, 62 virtualized desktop infrastructure or VDI instances, which if you've all seen my cloud gaming series, you know I'm going to test that.
Well, someone already asked that in chat too.
Right. Also, as Skull points out, it's a single slot GPU. These aren't double slots. These aren't massively overspec'd coolers. Will these come with active cooling? That's another thing to keep in mind. But if I scroll down just a little bit more, here's the real interesting tidbit on these server GPUs. Full stack VDI infrastructure support. VDI is virtual desktop, and that's the infrastructure that I'm using for cloud gaming in a lot of my Proxmox and whatnot tutorials and videos. Let's see. Unlike current offerings, cough, cough, NVIDIA, Intel does not charge any additional software licensing fees or hardware-based software licensing or fees for hardware-based SRIOV. That is the software-based PCI Express bifurcation. Split up your graphics core, give it to a virtual machine, and to hell with licensing.
That's a good thing.
I want 6 of these. And yes, I have enough PCI Express slots for that. I want 6 of these.
Like you said, cooling. We got to see what cooling is.
Yeah. Do you think they would hate me if I plugged them into an Epic server, though? like the only server that I have with enough PCI Express bandwidth is an Epic 64-core ROM. Maybe I just need to get some Xeons from Intel too. Yeah. So, anyway, overall, I'm not that disappointed, and I'm actually a little bit encouraged, even though people go, their first card is barely keeping up with a 1650. You know what? Watt for watt, it's kind of matching the 1650. And I don't know about you, but the 1650 isn't that bad of an architecture with the Turing-based architecture. It's only 1 generation old. Sure, it's almost 3 years old at this point.
Well, that's what I was saying. The 1650 is still a decent card. You can still play like 70-80% of the modern games out there.
Oh, totally.
You know, at not ultra, but
1080p medium settings, right?
Yeah, whatever.
Which is what it's $165 card. It's not a juggernaut. It wasn't meant to be a juggernaut.
No, it was literally supposed to be like my first graphics card, you know, type of thing. That's really what it was supposed to be. You know, they weren't. Someone's not going to go ask for a 3080 for their first graphics card. I mean, they'll ask for it, but they ain't going to get it. Oh, that was good.
All right. How's your beer doing, John?
I just finished it, and it was delicious. It was. How is yours?
This is fantastic. Like,
I even looked at what is the definition of a pre-prohibition, and everything gave me cream ale or lager, but the one thing that was consistent was it was supposed to be hoppier. But they said above 30 IBUs, and I was like, well, it's an IPA, so yeah, you can say anything.
Right. If I have an IPA that's below 70, I'm pissed off.
Yeah, so I mean, technically all IPAs that are pre-pro. So I still don't know what it is.
What I will say, you just said something that went bing in the back of my brain, and that was cream ale. This has an orange creamsicle kind of fruitiness to it.
I wonder, what if they went and took a cream ale, a pre-prohibition cream ale, because that's a style, and then they just dry hopped it a lot with Citra.
It's kind of what it tastes like.
And that would make it the IPA.
Like it totally didn't register. I was just like, hey, that's kind of like orangey and citrusy, and there's a little bit of hot bitterness, but it's still very wet mouthfeel. It's still very juicy and refreshing. Yeah. Like it's really good. You said cream ale, and I went bing, and I went, dude, it's super smooth. It's fairly creamy. It's light and fluffy on the mouthfeel, but it's still very juicy.
Yeah, and you said it wasn't super hazy either.
It's not super hazy, but there's definitely that hop that's like right on top of everything.
Huh. Interesting.
I think you just hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah, that would be funny. I should, because they're not far from my work. I should just go over there. Like, what'd you do?
Mm-hmm. Why don't you open your next one? I'm going to be done with this one by the time you're ready.
Well, I was going to say, like, your beer is probably just as good as today's sponsor, but you're finishing up your beer, so I didn't want to.
You're probably right, and boy, if I was at all prepared, I would have had the sponsor read already up and running. It's just as good as my beer is today. Today's sponsor, Linode. As John holds up the IPA. Today's episode of Talking Heads is brought to you by Linode. If you ever needed to host your own servers, whether it be for home or business use, but don't have the resources to invest into hardware, power, cooling, time, or even space, why not let Linode host them for you? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes the software for most of my tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad blocking, recursive DNS server, VPN gateway, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more. With shared CPU plans starting at as little as $5 per month, and scaling up to as high as you need to go, you'll be able to find a hosting plan that fits your needs. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site. Because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode also announced they are the first alternative cloud provider to have NVMe block storage available to all customers. In September, they began rolling out NVMe drives to all 11 of their global data centers. Best of all, storage rates will remain at the same low price they always have been. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. That's linode.com/craftcomputing, and again, a huge thanks to Linode for continuing to sponsor Talking Heads.
Thank you, Linode.
Thank you, Linode. We drink for another day.
Yes. So, I'm just having a Deschutes Fresh Haze IPA.
That's a solid IPA.
It's just I got their new pack because they had 2 new varieties in with it, and I was like, I can't go wrong with the Deschutes IPA variety pack.
Yeah,
and I was not disappointed. Then too, I have a bourbon stout that's been sitting over here. I will probably be at the end of the show / after party.
Nice.
So I was like, I'll go with the 12 ounce.
There you go. So I've got another Ex Novo on deck, I guess you could say. This one is No Shade Here. It is a fruited wheat ale.
Ooh,
which I know is a favorite style of yours.
I actually do. I've had it was a pineapple wheat Hefeweizen, which I thought was delicious.
Ooh.
I was like, if I could find another one, I'll probably grab one for you. But again, Deschutes makes it.
Nice.
So, but
no,
does it say what fruit?
Oh wow.
Oh,
a
red
color.
fruit. Yeah. Berry, cranberry.
They on the front of it they have raspberries and lemons.
That's not bad.
So that's the can art, yeah. So I'm assuming
I would think raspberry lemonade wheat ale.
Right. Which does not sound bad in my book.
No. So apparently your Ex Novo pre-prohibition ale was on Tavour. Hey, if anyone wants $10 off their first Tavour pack, promo code Hops Brews.
How do I not have a promo code yet? Answer me that.
I don't know. Gotta talk to him.
Oh, and it pours like a wheat ale too. Look at that.
Oh yeah,
that is beautiful.
It looks great, but there is a description for tasting notes.
Ooh,
and they say every sip gushes with flavors of ripe peach and tangy tangerines, thanks to the generous hop additions, and it's all wrapped in a ultra soft body thanks to the plenty of wheat in the mash. So I think your description was pretty spot on about all the flavors. Soft, pillowy, little weedy.
Are you talking about the pre-prohibition?
Yeah, it was the
pre-prohibition one. Gotcha.
Because Untapped had
you said peach and something, and I'm going.
Oh no! The other Ex Novo. Sorry.
Okay.
I could have confused it with that one.
No, so my brain didn't connect the dots that you were talking about the old one. Peach and nectarine. Look, I have a 5-year-old, and we've been going over shapes and colors lately. That's funny. But no, that was a delicious hazy.
I think I'm gonna have to pick it up. I'll probably do a beer run this following week, and if I see it, I might just pick it up.
I think it was $12.99 for a 4-pack. It's a fairly reasonable 4-pack.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like $3.50 a beer. So.
Yeah, $3.25 a pint.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
No, I mean that's a good beer. What was the percentage? Do you remember?
6.7.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a fine beer.
Right. Fine, slightly heavier than a lawnmower beer, but in the realm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's probably the size I'd probably have with a dinner.
Yeah.
A meal.
Dude, a burger with that? Oh, teriyaki burger with that? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, now you're speaking my language.
I make my own teriyaki sauce. Oh, it's so good. I dip everything in it. Yeah. I'll make a mason jar. I make about 4 cups at a time.
Nice.
And I'll just save it, and then everything for the next.
Do a soy sauce and brown sugar reduction.
Everything is teriyaki flavored for the next.
My man. Did chunks of strawberry come out when you shake the bottle?
Shut up. That one time, I think I need to make a video of just me. I'm gonna finally make a strawberry blonde ale and make you drink it.
You should.
You should. A whole video where I take a month brewing it and then drive it to your house. And then
I have gotten more legs off that joke than anything else ever. John and I met. John and I became friends because we joined the same band, and it's like, hey, we should get to know each other. Like, come on over, we'll have dinner and whatnot. And he left his wife at home and just came over, and I didn't have kids at the time, so it's like, yeah, come over, we'll like have beers and drinks and everything else and whatnot. And so I made cocktails, and John brought a 6-pack of his homebrew, and I went, oh, cool,
Yeah.
you know, like you brew your own and whatnot. And gosh, I'm dating us now, but
I tell you,
12 years ago.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was right around 12, maybe even 13 years ago. Like, it was a while ago. Yeah, John brought some homebrew, and he goes, yeah, I've got a couple of varieties here. I've got like this beer, and I've got this strawberry blonde ale that I made.
So
and
second beer.
And I went, yeah, let's totally try that. And he goes to pour it, and it stops pouring. And he shakes it real quick, and a whole strawberry falls out of it.
No. I opened it over the sink.
Oh, right.
And then I was like, I don't know what's going to happen to this one. Oh, okay.
Okay, we're not bad.
Out,
he starts pouring it, but then it like stops pouring because he's pouring it into a glass. And he's like, that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, it's fresh fruit. It's the original. I came up with the jammy sour.
You're supposed to mash them, John.
No, I'm the one who came up with you add
whole fruit fermentation.
After fermentation, it's like that was my thing. I just everyone that enjoys those, you're welcome.
Would you call that a back fruiting?
It's my attempt at a cocktail beer. I have a video idea to where I think classification of these modern beers, of the jammy sours and the adjunct beers, should not be classified as beers. They should be classified as cocktails, because these items are added after fermentation and during bottling.
You're not incorrect. You're not incorrect.
And so it is a alcoholic beverage with an additive to it, which is the definition of a cocktail. Right.
Yeah, cocktail just means alcohol, or technically a cocktail is spirits with mixers. So this would be its own kind of like unique classification. Gosh, you'd be looking at grogs, or like what, like, you know, the old fashioned Viking drinks with the heated raw iron and the egg in the stout. Like, you'd be looking at that kind of classification for a jammy sour. I think it's called grog, right?
Okay. Yes, you're correct. Wikipedia's whatever Wikipedia, but a cocktail is a mixed drink typically though, with distilled liquor. Now that means not necessarily. And I think that was my argument when I came up with this idea.
And cocktail in and of itself, when it's talking about alcoholic beverages, is typically spirits. But cocktails in and of themselves are just mixed drinks.
Exactly. It does say sweetened liqueurs, wine, or beers may also be served as the base or be added. And so
I think your definition fits.
Yes, exactly. So those should not be classified.
I rescind my no. Like, once I started thinking about it, I went no, because cocktail, hell, you buy juice from the store that is a grape cocktail, or most juice that you buy from the store is technically a cocktail because it's a mix of fruit juices.
Yeah.
You go. Unless you buy like 100% grape juice, it's 85% apple. Like, I promise you, which makes it a cocktail. Cranberry cocktail is the mixer that you make a vodka cran with. So
So I was thinking about making a video of just discussing the definition of these and how
you have me questioning my whole reality right now. Do you realize that?
I don't know. I just thought I was thinking that like a couple weeks ago. I was like, that's a really interesting idea. I don't think anyone's gonna care or notice. I was like, I don't know. I think I should talk about that for a quick second.
I think that'd be a fantastic video. Crack open a jammy sour and crack open an IPA or maybe one that pairs a little bit better with a jammy sour.
Yeah, maybe. But you have to go find the definitions of a beer and the exact definition of a cocktail.
Right.
And then how each beer is made. And then therefore, because I know a jammy sour or whatever smoothies it's added after fermentation, that would mean it's technically should be considered a cocktail. If I'm wrong in the chat, in the chat or comments, let me know. Let me know if I'm wrong, if anyone thinks I'm wrong.
I'm honestly totally on board with you. Like at first I was going like, whoa, that's sacred ground. And now I'm going, you know what? When I step back and think of not alcoholic cocktail, but just the definition of cocktail as mixed drink, you're not wrong. It's a beer cocktail. Right. No, I think you're absolutely on point there.
Yeah.
Roll it.
So we do have some beer news.
We do.
If you want to get into that right now. Or we can talk whatever.
Stone!
Yeah.
Stone!
Oh man, this kind of broke my heart.
This bums me out. This bums me out to like levels I don't even want to talk about.
I know. So Stone Brewing is I think they said 4th or 5th largest craft brewery in the United States, 18th largest in general.
When you take away the conglomerates of like owned craft like monopolies and whatnot, which are also owned by like InBev and crap like that, I believe they're 3rd behind Sam Adams and
they're third for craft, 18th in general in the United States.
Right. As a single holding company.
As a single 18th. Holding company, they're 18th. So that's including the Budweiser, the Miller Coors. They're big. They are probably the most recognizable craft beer brand next to Boston
right.
beer.
Yeah, Sam Adams. Right. Like when you talk craft beer, you've got Sam Adams on the East Coast and you've got Stone on the West Coast. You can also throw in Sierra Nevada, but like...
Yeah. But they just sold out. And now they didn't sell out to Miller, Coors, Budweiser. They didn't InBev. They didn't do that. They sold to Sapporo, which is an Asian brewery, and they're trying to get into the market. I was talking with some people. I don't know what's going on. It was the deal was $165 million deal with additional payments if Stone Brewery's production goes up, depending
John,
upon
we could have crowdfunded that.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't know, though.
Will they accept Bitcoin? Oh, crap. We need twice as much now.
Yeah, the whole offer wasn't Bitcoin. It was all in NFTs. It was probably all in like Budweiser NFTs too.
Right.
I don't know. So Greg Koch, whatever. Don't remember how to say his name.
Koch, I believe.
Koch, yeah, kind of basically stated, because for the longest time he was like, I will never sell. Yeah. I mean, for years he was saying I would never sell, and then he basically made a statement on the website stating, I'm just burnt. I'm done. Yeah. I can't do this anymore. I'm ready to just live the life on a beach.
Yep.
I just want to do nothing. I've taken a look at some brands, and I feel that this one is it. I'm sorry to the people that feel I've hurt you. I think I put it in the best hands possible. Not much.
You said 165 million, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So other than him, everyone else in the company is still staying. So he has to step down as
Greg,
chairman.
You enjoy your retirement, my friend.
That's essentially what it is he stated in it, like, he's now enjoying domestic beers. He's like, honestly, I not Budweiser's, but he's enjoying a Sam Adams. He's enjoying, a Dogfish Head. He's enjoying
Sierra Nevada,
Goose Island, Sierra Nevada.
Island, right.
He's like, there's nothing wrong with these beers, and they're now owned by these. And I think he's starting to talk to those people. He didn't state that, That's my assumption because he's talked to these people for years. He's one of the founding people to do a double IPA back in 1996. Stone Brewing made the second double IPA ever.
Yep.
So it's just, I don't know, man. This just kind of breaks my heart.
It hurts, but at the same time, would you do any different in his shoes?
No, I wouldn't.
Right,
do any,
and so as much as we like to idolize the idea of the self-made man, the brewery that came out of nothing, the guy who created an industry essentially, which Greg certainly had a hand in, the entire craft brewing revolution that happened between the mid 90s and today. God, he's been there for 26 years. Go enjoy your time on a beach, dude. I can never fault anyone for going, you know what? Not only my life, but the lives of the next 12 generations in my family are now set in stone. No one will have to lift a goddamn finger ever again.
No, yeah, in his now there was one part they are not selling the Stone distribution, which does have some pretty big names in it, but has Russian River, has 21st Amendment, Oscar Blue, Cigar City.
Yep.
That's still staying,
which is why we get all them. So I'm really glad they didn't sell.
Yeah, exactly. But there was one kind of a jerk move I thought they did. They just announced it to the whole company via a Zoom meeting. And it was just like, hey, everyone, we're selling. Bye.
Yeah, okay.
But again,
here's the alternative. They find out in a press release.
Yeah, I mean, they're huge. They're a huge brewery. Third in craft beer, 18th in overall. They used to have I believe they have a secondary brewery, which is the Arrogant Bastard brewery that also got sold, by the way.
Yep.
So they have multiple breweries. They had one in Europe for a while, Germany.
Yeah,
that got sold, and that hurt them a lot. And then the suit with Keystone Light, I bet probably cost them a lot, and I bet that was a big factor. And he's just like, I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of the horrible press we're having to do, they had to hurt a few little guys in the process. We talked about that before with the lawsuit, I think a couple weeks back, to where they still had to put a cease and desist, but kind of put it under the rug, but they still had to hurt him, and they took a lot of bad press from that. And I bet he was just like, I'm done.
I'm done with this crap.
I'm done. The people that I know and I respect know my reasonings, and that's all I care about. Everyone else, sorry.
Right. I've got no ill will. It sucks because one of the cornerstones of craft brewing is changing hands. Changing hands to, I mean, Sapporo's got a decent track record of, maintaining autonomy and furthering. And we can say the same damn thing about, InBev taking over Goose Island. Has BCS gone down in quality at all? No, in fact, they probably got better.
Yeah, exactly. They're able to release more variants.
What about 10 Barrel? What about there's dozens of examples of even the ones that have sold out, quote unquote, improving and getting better distribution and allowing more people to enjoy them. It does suck to see one of the major players get sold out, but at the same time, it's like it didn't sell to Miller or Coors or InBev or anything like that. It's still independent from the rest, I've got no ill feelings towards that. In life, you got to make a decision, and you said 165 million, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this will probably bring a quintessential West Coast IPAs to Japan now, and then we'll probably be getting some, hopefully, interesting whatever Sapporo whatever they have and maybe some of their conglomerates into the Stone Brewing, and we might get a little bit more, or who knows? Some interesting beers.
Maybe we'll get some blue IPAs.
Exactly. Well, there was that blue algae IPA or something from Japan.
I had that one.
Yeah, so there's just some weird
that was
stuff
definitely interesting.
They got some weird stuff, so I don't know. I do like maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know, but like I said,
when you're the tipsy bartender, blue curacao, it goes in everything, because maybe the blue IPA is the next trend. We'll get the blue hazies or some crap.
That's true. Like, but like I said, I was hurt, but still like, honestly, if I was in the same boat, I'd probably do the same. That's what I felt about 10 Barrel. That's what I felt about.
I always felt that about 10 Barrel.
Elysian. I was like, guys, I know we all hate them, and sure, some of the core beers kind of went down, but the specialty beers went up.
Right.
So,
and now you can drink them if you're like in freaking Indiana.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, I know.
No one lost in this.
If I travel, I saw a 10 Barrel beer or Elysian, I know I'm going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to like Space Dust. So, it's going to be at that dive bar now.
Right.
So, but that's just like, you're hitting at me in my soul. Okay, whatever. I'll live, I guess.
Friggin' Bifrost in the winters? Like, hell yeah. Like,
yeah. So that happened. Some of you might have heard it, but yeah. So there you go. Some different non-beer, but whiskey. The longest running live action comedy series, and I believe, one of the longest live action TV shows. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I've heard of it.
I've seen like one or two episodes. I just can't seem to get into it.
Snaps garbage bag open.
Are coming out with their own whiskey brand.
Yep.
And they're coming out with two variants too. So the Four Walls coming up with which are the four guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now it's not related with the show, but it's the Rob, Charlie, and Glenn, the three main characters who are all actually best friends in real life.
Yep.
Are actually coming out with this. So if you do see it, go check it out. I believe there is a rye and a regular one. I did not see.
Yeah, rye and a bourbon.
Rye and a bourbon, and I did not see the age on these though.
I'm assuming it's going to be, a standard 4-year.
Standard.
Yeah.
So, but interesting. I'll probably get it. I'm a fan of the show, but I like trying the
Only 755 bottles are being produced, and each arrives in a mirrored engraved box that includes the signatures of all 3 stars with a price tag of $999. Oh, and by the way, they've been aged 15 years.
Oh, okay. So I didn't read the rest of the article. Well, there you go.
There you go. John, you going to be getting one of these?
No, I'm not. Basically, to me, that sounds like someone aged some whiskey, and they were like, hey, who wants to buy this? I don't think 15 years ago they were like, let's start a whiskey company. Right. I'm pretty sure a company had some 15-year-old whiskey, and they were like, who wants to buy a bunch of barrels of this?
Mm-hmm.
Or
sorry, it's 755 bottles. So who wants to buy 1 barrel of this?
Or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
Actually, there was a documentary I was watching about whiskey and how most of American whiskey is all from like
sorry. Let me scroll back a little bit. Okay. So they will be mass produced at $89. And then there's a specialty version that is a 15-year Irish whiskey, because the standard is a tribute to Paddy's Irish Pub, which is where most of the show takes place. It's a 45% ABV or 90 proof Irish whiskey that's smooth enough to be served neat, but also holds up in a cocktail. Bottles are priced at $89. Initial release will only be a few hundred cases. And then there's also a 15-year variant that they're making 755 bottles of. There we go.
There we go. All right.
Got
so
it.
I'll get the single. You get the 15.
There you go.
There we go. Someone super chat.
That guy, Zach, if you guys are listening, I could use a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah. So just saying, if someone wants to do that, we'll have it on the 500th episode of Talking Heads.
Mm-hmm. Right after our Sam Adams Utopia.
Yes, exactly. Well, we probably get that before this. Although, I think this year we have a pretty good shot of it.
I think we have to.
John,
if you find a bottle, just run it on your credit card and I'll pay you.
I know.
Just done.
I trust you guys to do that. So
yeah, no. Hell, buy two. Like I'll buy one and then we'll split the other. Like,
well, we're gonna drink from yours then.
Okay. Wait a second.
Yeah, Whiskey Tribe maybe. There is this one's really quick.
What the hell?
Someone put this in Discord, and I could. If anyone's watched my channel and seen some of the most horrific faces I've ever made, it is always from a Martin House Brewery beer, and it's their pickle variants. Now, Martin House Breweries, you might have seen me do it again if you watch the channel. Hops and Brews, check it out. Me or Steve. The one thing we'll do say,
link is regrettably in the description.
They do a lot of food beers.
Mm-hmm.
I will state, it tastes like the food, but I don't want to drink that.
That's not a compliment.
Well, hang on, because you and Steve are always like, well, it has to taste exactly like the description, and I give it high props for that because it has to do that.
You know, you're right. You're totally right.
That's what they do. I mean, we had a mustard and relish pickle beer, and it literally tasted like mustard and relish pickles. There wasn't a better description for it, and that's all they do on their description is like one sentence. They are coming out with a hard seltzer this time, and well, I don't know how to
do you want to say it out loud, or do you just want me to put it on screen?
Just put it on screen. Okay. Fort Worth Brewery, which is Martin House Brewery, is going to be doing a hot dog water flavored seltzer. Yeah. Yep. So they're having a festival. They are known for doing some pretty interesting festivals. If you see in the article, it says known for their sour pickle beer, their mustard juice, barbecue sauce, buffalo wings, buffalo wing sauce, sour beers. All of those, by the way, I did review. What is it? What is that movie with Elf? An Elf themed beer where they put spaghetti, maple syrup, and M&Ms together, all in the mash.
Tech Geek says I freeze hot dog water into ice cubes for guests I don't like.
Well, now he can get this seltzer and just have them drink it.
Would you like some sparkling water with our dinner tonight?
With our dinner? So now, see, I kind of want this because I still saved some of the mustard pickle beer. And then if I could combine the two, I could make like mustard and hot dog.
Can you make like...
I think I could. So,
you know,
story.
the mustard pickle and hot dog, like, I think that's a video. I think you get a hot dog with mustard and relish on it, and you take a bite, and then you
combine the two drinks. Is like, does this taste like?
And then you graveyard it up, right?
Yeah, totally.
I think that's a video.
So,
sorry, Mo Zamboni points out that I missed a super chat, and you are indeed correct. Mo Zamboni sends over $10. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Love the last video. I started watching craft computing because I'm a major proponent of reducing e-waste. I volunteered my time and skill at a recycle plant 2 years ago to establish a process, and now they are full steam ahead. That is freaking awesome. I am also against e-waste. Even when I've thrown hardware out and I've gotten rid of a lot of hardware over the years. I always hated hurting hardware. Like we would go into different organizations and clear out, 10 years worth of e-waste. And I had colleagues who would one arm monitors into a dumpster or, recycling pallet or whatever else. And I would always send them down gently because I don't like hurting hardware. I don't like doing it. It still works. I know that it's not good anymore, but it still works. So yeah.
I don't know. There's some I kind of like the old projection big screen TVs, the striped panels.
Oh yeah,
those I will put a baseball bat through.
Oh.
Now CRT monitors, I love those.
Yeah,
those are great. I still have a few. They barely work, and there's so much dust on them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't like.
I still have a 20-inch flat screen CRT with S-Video out in my garage, and my wife goes, "Why the hell are you keeping that?" I'm like, "Because, damn it!
I have a 21-inch in my arcade."
Yeah, I know.
So I think Steve's got a 27-inch in his, and his is not even the flat panel; it's the curve.
Yeah.
His arcade is so he screwed it into or L bracketed into that case.
Yeah.
It is so heavy.
Anyone ever lifted a 27-inch CRT?
It is so heavy.
Oh God. Right.
So
you guys don't even know.
No, it is horrible.
I mounted by myself my 75-inch TV to my wall above my fireplace by myself.
It's light as a feather.
Can I repeat that for those who don't understand the context of 75-inch by myself?
Yeah.
Because, holy crap, anything larger than a 27, you're not even lifting it by yourself. John, what's the largest CRT you've ever dealt with?
That 27.
27?
Yeah.
43.
What? No way. Wait, TV or monitor?
TV.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I was going with monitor.
Technically, monitor, but they were some of the largest CRTs ever made. Mitsubishi made 43-inch CRTs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not rear projection. CRT.
So as a CRT, I still have it.
32?
I have a 36.
30. That's a Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Sony made the second largest at 36. Mitsubishi made the largest at 43.
Yes. I still have it at my farm.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, but it's still there.
Yeah. These weighed almost 400 pounds.
They are. I don't know. I like broke my back. I think if I lifted it now, but that was. I remember buying it and thinking because I didn't have a big screen, but I was like, this is the biggest CRT I've ever seen.
Right.
And I got it for like $100, and I was like, this thing is awesome.
Yeah.
36-inch. I'm like 17. I was like, I got a fucking huge TV in my room.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. None of us caught it till I said it.
I just zoned out. We were just kind of.
I know.
We were just vibing for a minute.
But I even built my own stand for it.
Honestly, that deserved it. So.
I even had my first Codex DVD player hooked up to it. I remember that. I had Steve rip me so many movies.
Yep. Did you have the cut of Wolverine without all the visual effects?
Yes, I did. Of course I did. I liked that movie better than the original, the final cut.
Only real peer-to-peers know that.
Oh. That was horrible.
Mozamboni sends over $5. Thank you very much. I'll put it towards my medical bills. Crimea River. I was a home theater installer many moons ago. Try hanging a 60-inch plasma 200 pounds above a fireplace. Ooh. To say nothing of the CRTs we moved. Yeah. So I had a really good friend, colleague, coworker, who at one point he asked me over to help him move a sofa, and he had to move a sofa from. He had bought a new couch for his upstairs, and we had to move it up his stairwell, and then literally like 180-degree corner, and then into his den upstairs. It didn't fit up the stairwell. It didn't fit around the 180-degree bend, and it certainly didn't fit through the door. And at one point, it's like wedged like 3 different ways. And I said, I think it's stuck. And he goes, just push, man. And so I heave-toed, and we like took a chunk out of the door frame and scuffed the drywall and everything. But we got it in the room. And I said, to be clear, if you ever invite me over again and you ask me to move the sofa, I'm just going to bring a chainsaw and I'm going to throw it out the window. Because I'm not putting it back down those stairs. Downstairs in his main living room, he had a Sony 36-inch CRT mounted above his fireplace. It was like custom built. So it was a room that faced the corner. And so in the corner, there was a fireplace, or like a wood stove alcove beneath it. And then there was this massive platform that was built into the wall by the original home builders. And then up above it was a 36-inch TV. And it was a CRT that was lifted up there. And he lifted it up there with the help of like 4 people. And for years, he talked about replacing that with some kind of an LCD or a projector or something. And he goes, I've always thought if I needed to move that TV, it might be easier just to drywall it over and then hang whatever I want in front of it.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Of who is it? Mo's. I had a old plasma, and I think it was a 46.
Yeah, my dad had a 48 plasma. Yeah, something like 160, 180 pounds.
Yeah, the 1080i.
No, we were 720i.
Oh yeah, no, but it had the handles on the back just to lift it.
Oh yeah,
it took 2 people to lift this thing, and oh man, it was so heavy.
No one understands why TV mounts have the ratings that they do. Because it's like modern like I have a 55-inch LCD mounted on my wall on a scissor arm, and I can pull this thing like 3 feet off the wall. It's mounted right in front of me. I did this myself. That TV is like 35 pounds. Like it weighs almost nothing. And I was able to like hold it up and reach around it and screw it into the bracket and get it all mounted up and leveled and everything else by myself. The reason that the bracket on the wall is rated to like 180 pounds is because someone may put a 42-inch plasma on that arm.
Yep. Well, even modern, or like I had a plasma, a 1080p. It was another 46, but it was a bit more modern plasma. That thing still weighs like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And that was about 10, 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. You remember at the bar, the TV we streamed to. So, yeah, it was a 46-inch for the upstairs. Remember, we would... That was a plasma, and that was about 75 pounds.
I'm really glad I wasn't there when you mounted it.
Oh, yeah. I hated mounting all those TVs. Well, the other ones were all...
they were all LCD.
All LCDs. Well, the original menus, actually, I'm looking at one right now. They were Chang Hong. That's the brand name. I'm staring at it right now.
Yeah, they were the knockoff 4K displays.
Yeah, they were the knockoff 4K. Okay, so
I remember how excited you were when you found those because you're like,
I got 4K.
I got 70-inch 4K screens for like $350, and I'm like, okay, what are you gonna? He's like, they're gonna be my menus, man. They're gonna be amazing.
Well, I mean, you think menus? Okay, who cares, right? It's gonna be a single screen. So I bought 3 of them, and the third one was supposed to replace the plasma because I had that TV mounted in my bedroom. Mm-hmm. The problem is their stupid on and off light is the light turns on when it's off to indicate the TV's off.
But now you have a light.
And then you have a light on, and you have a night light at nighttime. You're like, what is going on? So I just put some electrical tape over it. But
the Vizio that I have in my living room has that. But in the settings menu, you can actually configure how that LED turns on. You can have it on when the TV's off, or vice versa, or vice versa, or vice versa. Like, you could have it whatever you want. You could have it on when the TV's off when the TV's on. You could have it on when the TV's on, off when the TV's off. Or you can have it as an indicator for the remote, where when it receives a remote input, it will hold on for a second and then turn off.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to turn the TV on, you can just watch for that little white LED in the corner, and it'll kick on or kick off. Yeah. So.
Yeah, TVs. Oh, man.
Speaking of TVs and ancient technology and...
Yeah.
Oh, God, this is almost 30 years ago. John, did you ever get into flash carts for... This hurts. Classic consoles?
I know, right? No, I never did.
Okay.
I never did.
I've had a number over the years. I've had a couple EverDrives. I've got a DS and a 3DS cartridge. I think a Skygate DS cartridge and another 3DS cartridge. That's a multi.
I did have a DS. I did have a DS cartridge.
Okay.
Yes, I did have a DS cartridge.
Yeah.
Yes, I still have it.
Yeah. No, I still have mine.
Yes, I still have.
Yeah, I have one for the DS. I have one for the 3DS. But then later on, it became so easy to crack the 3DS with software that it's like, screw it. So now it runs with an SD card. But yeah, no, like I've had all of those. There's been one that's been fairly difficult to get around some of the hardware limitations of, and that is the Nintendo 64. Because it used kind of the best of new school and old school as far as copy protection goes.
Yep.
Nintendo is very well known for putting in copy protection schemes based in hardware encryption into a lot of their consoles. Now, anymore than the original NES and Super Nintendo have long been cracked, and you can find full documentation on those. But for the Nintendo 64, they used similar systems, but they were altered in very, very subtle ways with like some random number generation and a couple other things that made them inherently difficult to get around. Some industrious modders have created a new flash cart for the Nintendo 64 based around a Raspberry Pi Pico. So Raspberry Pi's microcontroller to compete with like the Arduino Nano and a couple of the other Teensies and ESP32s and things like that.
Pico's cool. I like the Pico.
Yeah. They have created a flash cart that will interface with a Nintendo 64 cartridge slot with a micro SD card slot for storage, and will run natively as a Nintendo 64 cartridge. No copy protection, full ROM libraries. Just drop your ROM library on there, select it in the menu, and go, hey, let's play this game today. On native hardware.
I would be curious about this, because I do know there are some N64 games that don't run too well on Pi structures. Majority of them still do. But,
yeah,
85%.
Once we hit the Raspberry Pi 4, Nintendo 64 emulation had enough horsepower to drive to get there.
Yeah, it was like 90%, 99%. But
Nintendo 64 emulation's always been kind of a weird thing. It's a weird architecture. It was difficult to program for. And it was one of the first instances of, instead of using low-level, hardware-level emulation, as we refer to emulation as these days, where they started using high-level emulation, which is, well, you're just instructing the graphics card to do this. Let's skip the middleman in the hardware and just give DirectX native cards or Voodoo native cards the instructions you're trying to give them. And so we wound up with Ultra HLE in 1942 and a couple other high-level emulators, which is why wine is an emulator. And yeah, the doors kind of opened from there. But no, this is kind of going back to the basics of let's take some flash card dumps or some cartridge dumps and load them onto an SD card and be able to fire any of them up as you want on native hardware. And that's cool.
That is very cool. I don't have my N64 anymore, but I guess it's still pretty cool. It's one of those things of like you said, once the Raspberry Pi 4 came along, I guess what's the point now, though? Because
as good as Nintendo 64 emulation has gotten, it's one of the systems that has never been able to fully recreate hardware level emulation and like one-to-one emulation. Like as far as the PlayStation, we've been there forever. As far as even like PS2, we're getting there with Xbox 360. We're getting there with a couple different things. And we've been there for a long, long time with the 16-bit generation, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Master System, whatever.
Yeah.
But the Nintendo 64 has kind of remained that one elusive one that it was so unique as far as the hardware goes, and it was so unique as far as the programming, the actual 3D rendering engines, and everything else that were developed for it.
Because
we can play the games in emulators, but they haven't really been matched in emulation to the native hardware.
Exactly. I mean, how many times have you played Mario Kart and just been like, there's just something off.
Ocarina of Time.
They're like I said,
they're getting close.
Something off. You're close. It's playable.
You can play it. Right.
Or GoldenEye. I mean, the biggest one is GoldenEye. Everyone always talks about GoldenEye. That is probably one of the hardest ones to emulate via just the software. That would be interesting to see if GoldenEye would work really well on this.
Yeah. Basically, it will work perfectly on this because this is not emulation. This is taking the Raspberry Pi Pico as a microcontroller, plugging it into a Nintendo 64 cartridge slot, using a custom menu to pull a ROM off of an SD card, and then load the game as a native cartridge. And so it's one-to-one instructions. There's no emulation, there's no translation, there's nothing. And that's the beauty of a lot of these cartridge solutions, like EverDrives and Stargates and things like that of the world, is you play it on native hardware. And I mean, that's why 3DS flash carts were so popular, is because the system wasn't hackable and emulation was a nightmare. Nintendo 3DS is another one that's kind of an emulation nightmare. But
the hardware itself for the N64 is quite large.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could take that hardware and then put it into a box or shrink it down. I was curious to see how big it was, but then make your own multi-emulator within one box.
Mm-hmm.
Type of a deal, but it's quite large and would not be fun.
I mean, there have been many projects over the years where people have like miniaturized N64 hardware. I mean, it's a very common hardware mod to attempt, at least as far as the miniaturization community goes, which is a fairly small community. But yeah, I mean, the Nintendo 64 has certainly reached a maturity as far as emulation goes, where now almost everything is completely playable. Custom Robo 64 is another one that was really weird. There was, Mission Impossible was one that was kind of like its own unique engine. Perfect Dark had a lot of really weird effects that really didn't translate well until really like the last 5 or 6 years, where they finally got all the screen banding stuff taken care of. So, and again, even when you're talking playing, classic games, there are still some things that you cannot replicate on native hardware, which is why a lot of speedrunners will use native hardware.
The actual,
Right.
Oh God! Do you remember Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire?
Mm-hmm.
God, I remember that. I remember that game, and then being like, "Oh, it's like
all
Han Solo
10
2.0.
levels."
Yeah, and then it introduced us to that. What was the bounty
Dash
hunter,
Rendar.
Ash Rendar, but then what was the bounty
Dash
hunter, the robot?
Rendar. IG-88 made his first gaming appearance.
I hated playing him. Oh man,
Yep.
I kept dying.
Yep. We also had to defeat Boba Fett and Slave One.
Yep.
And then you ultimately, it was a weird story because you started off where you're getting orders from Luke as rogue leader in the battle of Hoth and whatnot, and you're helping with the Hoth escape. You walk into the hangar as the Millennium Falcon is escaping, which is the last scene you see on Hoth as in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
But then you have like your own side story where it's like, well, we also have a Corellian freighter.
Which is a different model.
Right.
Which flips in the center.
We're also going to fly through an asteroid field.
Yeah.
But we're not going to have to hide in the mouth of a giant monster because we don't know how to recreate that in game form now. But instead, we're going to go on a hunt for Boba Fett.
Yeah, now we're a bounty hunter now.
Right. And it culminates in scenes that are after the Battle of Endor in Return of the Jedi, in which you kind of meet back up with Rogue Squadron as the I'm forgetting the name of the ship now, but as his Corellian freighter, and you're taking part in the Battle of Xerxes Station, where you're like taking down a Sith Lord who's on a battle station, or on a space station. It's kind of a cool game, and it tells a lot of interesting story.
I remember it, and it was being like, oh, this is pretty cool. I remember it being hard, but I also remember it being
and you fight an ATST on foot. That's the first time that ever happened.
Yeah. But that and emulation also was extremely horrible.
Yes. No, that was always a very difficult game to run.
I remember natively that thing ran choppy. To me, it felt choppy.
It was one of those Nintendo 64 early. It was a release title. Number one.
Yeah.
It was a November 96 release title. It's one of the Outrider. Thank you. Outrider is Dash Rendar's ship. It was a release title, November 96. It was one of the first games that I had for the Nintendo 64. It was one of those, like, hey, it's in 3D, so I can forgive a lot of sins, but you're also running at 20 FPS. You realize that?
Yeah, exactly. It felt like Tomb Raider 1. It's like you run and then you jump and there's this hang time. But
the physics were...
It's just, what is going on here?
Dash Rendar can do like 30-meter long jumps. Like the dude was crazy. Thighs for days.
I know. It was like, oh my gosh, look at that. So that was one of my favorite N64 games growing up, but I remember just being frustrated, but always wanting to replay it.
It had this really interesting non-parabolic curve for gravity where you jump and he goes like up and then he hovers and then slowly accelerates as he comes down. But the thing is, you could jump straight up and then fall like 5 meters forward.
Yeah, I forget what it was. There was like a level where you had to jump across canyons.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just saw him.
No, that was the hunt for Boba Fett. That was, yeah. Yeah.
So funny.
There was the sewer level, too.
Yes.
The sewer level where you had to fight the
we had speeders in that one too.
The swoop level. Holy crap. Yes. With the Salmon Max challenge point.
Yeah. It's a good game. Honestly, it's a fun game.
It's a really good game.
If you're into the whole Star Wars,
you can buy it on Good Old Games. Did you know that?
Ooh,
on GOG. You can buy the PC version on GOG.
Oh, I did not know they had
totally worth it. It's like $10. And it's the PC native version, and it's great. I think it's on GOG. Hold on. Let me verify.
Because it was like that. You could transform it to first person to third person shooter. It was very odd. And
yes, it's on GOG. $6, $5.99.
Even better. Someone super chat $6. We'll buy it. Maybe we'll play it again.
Yeah. I already bought it. It's in my inventory. So. Anyway, last but not least, Obi-Wan setting records.
Speaking of Star Wars.
Setting records when you consider Disney as a streaming platform and Star Wars straight to streaming service series releases, and this is only the third one they've ever done. It set the record for Star Wars live-action streaming services. But it's no small... It wasn't like it's more popular than Mandalorian. It's a lot more popular than Mandalorian. Like, as much as there was a vocal outcry about, like, they ruined Obi-Wan. Look what they did to my boy. First off, did you watch Obi-Wan?
I did. I finished it.
What did you think of
it? Beginning, good. Middle, not so good. Ending, great.
Right. And that's kind of what I thought. Although the drop-off in the middle was not quite as harsh as a drop-off as I might have expected. Like...
Well, I think that had to do with the what was it, 6 episodes?
It was only 6 episodes, which I liked.
I think that's what's nice because it told a quick story, what it needed to do, a lengthy movie, essentially. I mean, it was just a Lord of the Rings movie. Yeah. It was the same length as the Lord of the Rings movie.
Right.
So they told a complete good movie. I mean, they're the only, I guess, there were visual aspects I didn't like. Hayden Christensen being like a 40-year-old Padawan or whatever his name is.
He looked fine in the fade backs in the.
There was that one scene where it was supposed to take place during the Clone Wars, where he had the short buzz haircut.
He looked fine.
No, you could totally see the wrinkles.
I don't care. I don't care.
But again, like I said, visual, not storytelling. Visual, just
and if we're judging a prequel story based on storytelling,
yeah, as far as storytelling.
It was actually really good.
Once you got to the end, that was the thing. I think.
Wait! Leia never met Obi-Wan. Blah blah blah. No, you served my father in the Clone Wars. She said that's canon.
Exactly.
The people who micromanage all of this just enjoy the ride, for God's sakes. It was such a good 6 hours of television.
That was my problem early on, was because it was episodic, and then you had to wait that week. And it was like, oh, that one thing I complained, but then I also stated in my complaints, I hope they tie it back somehow. So I was like, okay.
Yes,
and I feel they did on the very last episode. Yep. I feel they tied everything back because it's not just storytelling. There was the script. There are certain lines you have to say that then tie into the New Hope.
He said the thing.
Sense. He said the thing, so it works. Okay,
Hello there.
Acceptance of it. I mean, that was fine, but that was funny. Apparently
he hates that because of prequel memes on Reddit. People will walk up to him on the street and go, say hello there, and he hates saying it. And they intentionally didn't make him say it until the very last line in the series, where it's like, would you like to meet him? And Luke goes, hi, and he goes, hello there.
I know.
And it's great.
And then that's the end.
It was great. I loved that.
No, that was fine. I like that. The only I guess visual cue is like, I guess I would have liked to see. You know what I would have like, the distress of more of the white hair going on, because aging a little bit.
Well, this is only 10 years later.
9 years, but yeah. So, but I mean, to go from Ian McGregor to what was the original actor's age or name? Obi-Wan? I don't remember his name.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor to Oh, God.
Exactly. That's a.
Anyway, the actual story here
but I
is...
like the story.
Right.
So.
Is that for as many vocal critics as there were on the Redditverse, on the Twitter scope, on the interwebs, it drew numbers, and it drew very good numbers. And I'm actually really happy about this, because I personally loved it as a miniseries. And this is kind of the thing that we've been waiting for Star Wars to get, is some good storytelling content again that actually has a beginning, middle, end, and direction, and an overall feel and vibe that's not just like Rian Johnson going, well, screw everything that happened in episode 7. I don't like that story. I'm going to tell my own story. And then them giving it back to the other guy and him going, well, screw what they did in episode 8. I'm going to go back to back to just pure fan service and whatnot. This was great. But The Mandalorian Season 2 finale drew 1.1 million viewers in the first 5 days, which is pretty good. The Book of Boba Fett season finale drew 1.5 million viewers in the first 5 days, which is also really good. Especially for the number of complaints there were about the Book of Boba Fett, and like, well, 2 episodes were just The Mandalorian. Well, yeah. You didn't think they'd be connected?
Yeah.
I
liked it.
And Obi-Wan Kenobi in the season finale, 1.8 million viewers over 5 days.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really, as far as all the episodes, I really liked the last episode the best.
Sir Alec Guinness.
Alex, there you go. Thank you.
Sir Alec Guinness.
Thank you, Skull. Sir, knighted.
Sorry.
That's my only title I'm missing. I need to get to the Queen quick. I need to be Sir.
I own property. I could knight you. I mean, that's all it takes, right?
I guess. I mean, technically, can I knight myself? Can my wife knight me? Or can I knight people?
Well, you are a lord.
I am a lord already, so
You're more a nobleman, not necessarily. I don't know what power you would actually have vested in you.
That's interesting, but I am a landowner here.
You're a lord where you have title, but you have the title because you own the land. I don't know what power that actually grants you. I think it grants you privilege, but not power.
I'm like 10,000ths in line for the throne, Jeff.
Right.
Shut up.
Right.
I have power. Unlimited power. No, back to Star Wars, but no, I liked, for the most part. Again, there are small little snippets that, yes, on Reddit people can ding and knock off, as a whole. But though, as a whole, I think even the whole Star Wars universe on TV for the series has been a success. I've enjoyed that more than the movies. So
I would agree.
I just wholly hope they don't do what they did with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and just everything's cookie cutter crap now. But this is very reminiscent of old school original Arc 1 of Marvel. I really like the way they're doing the technology of shooting it, like what they started with The Mandalorian, and they're using those big LCD panels that use Unreal.
Oh yeah, virtual cinematography. Oh god.
And it's making the sets just fantastic looking.
I'm looking at implementing some VRC in my next studio build. Believe it or not.
It's fantastic technology. I love it, and they are using it perfectly.
Yeah.
Way better than any of the prequel. I mean, I think any further Star Wars movies needs to be shot in these areas and not green screen.
Oh, totally. I think movies in general need to move this direction because it takes out. There's this awesome and weird relationship between practical effects and cinematography, where doing something practically will always result in what looks like a better image and better acting, because the thing that's happening is actually happening. I can go with
it. I can feel it, touch it.
Right, exactly. I can feel it, touch it, react to it, etc. And actually, I forget when they did this, but let me look it up really quick. Gosh, what is the name of that movie? Adam Savage's Tested. Oh, just this last week. They did a build with Corridor Crew, visual effects house, YouTubers. Oh, yeah. There's a movie called Chinatown from 1974 starring Jack Nicholson, in which you're kind of nosy. You know what happens to nosy guys? They lose their noses. And he puts a switchblade into Jack Nicholson's nose and then cuts him. And then, like, rips the side of his nose out with a switchblade. And they approached this from a modern filmmaker's perspective of time and budget and authenticity. And so Adam Savage built a practical prop in about 2.5 hours. And they were able to take the switchblade, put it into Adam's nose, and then cut the side of his nose off with full blood effects and everything else. And then you get full reactions from everyone on set. And then they also tried to do the same effect digitally, where they took a snub nose or half shaft switchblade and put it into Adam's nose and then cut it and did all the blood effects and everything else, including the tip of the switchblade and everything, in digital.
Yeah.
And they did it in roughly the same timeline, and you can judge based on the two, which is the better effect. And I'll say, even though there are flaws, Hops and Brews just posted the VFX, and I'll post it to the YouTube so you guys can be the judge. Because I can post links and no one else can. But it's a fantastic representation of digital versus practical, and time is money, and everything else. Skull, suck it. I'm faster than you. Not that I don't have a 30-second head start here on the live show.
There we go. I could post too.
Yeah. There you go. If you're curious about the link, it's in chat right now. But go take a look at this because it's really interesting. Again, practical versus digital versus VFX. And the effects that they get in practical is freaking amazing. And
you can just tell, and even just the reaction. Even if it's different, but with this new panel technology, it's kind of the best of both worlds.
You can take set design and make it practical, because now the actors can react to things on the set or see the environment around them, and you get all of the practical lighting as far as reflections and actual light sources emitting.
You're
for the actors.
You're basically seeing the green screen effect afterwards, almost, or at least your surroundings.
Yeah.
And what's going to be surrounded. So that speeder, that star, the ship or rock or something that's being thrown at you, where they're now, if it's just a green screen, they're just going to yell out, duck, and you duck.
Yeah.
Now the person can be like, I'm visually seeing it, and then I can start reacting in a time frame because I can see it coming at me at a particular speed.
Right.
Or I can see an actor in the distance, so I will go over there. I see the stormtroopers in, the far distance, or actors. I can react to that. Lightning hit. I will react to that because, and then the nice part too is that light from the screen already hits the actor's face too. Yeah.
You don't have to do correction in post for green halos or reflections on helmets or any, like, it takes care of it because you're literally shooting in that scene.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
It's great. It's cool technology. If anyone wants to check out that technology, you need a Disney Plus or whatever subscription. But the behind the scenes of Mandalorian season 1.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. It's so good.
I was so inspired by that. Like I said, I'm considering when I build my new studio, mounting a couple projectors and building like a faux studio where I can put whatever background I want behind me. And
be in Linus' studio all the time.
Right.
What?
Right. Hey, look, I'm on the set of Short Circuit. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Right. Or just change the background to whatever's relevant. Like it's insanely powerful for even just like talking heads videos where it's like I'm going to talk at the camera for 6 minutes and I want something relevant to be behind me.
Yeah.
And there's no post work to it.
No,
it's fantastic.
That's the best part. Yeah. It's seamless essentially.
Yeah. So.
No, very cool. You want to do just quick Q&A for like 10 minutes?
Or
we can call it.
I was about to call it. My voice is like dead.
Yeah, I kind of heard it, didn't know. But you know what? I'll tell you what. If anyone's interested in a Q&A, you got to go join the Super Secret After Show because that might be there. That's going to be in the description. The link's there. It's a minimum of $1. You can always donate more. It's per video. So every video Jeff posts, check that out. And then you'll get some early super secret stuff too. But the Discord is also a very awesome Discord. It's amazing. There's more than just tech stuff. There's beer news. There's food. There's movies, music, cars, trades,
3D
sell,
printing,
values. All of this stuff. There's tutorial stuff. One of the best Discords you will ever get into. And again, if you've made it this far listening to but if you made it this far into the just podcast form or the video, remember next week, July 6th episode is going to be at 6 p.m. West Coast time. Remember that. West Coast, best coast. So we're trying to give you the best coast on the East Coast. That's why we're doing this. We're
bringing a little West Coast to the East Coast. That's what we're doing.
So just remind you guys.
Right. In the summer, you have no excuse. It's still daylight at 9 p.m. Like you can stay up and watch.
But yeah, check that out. Oh, also, guys, go check out Tech Geek. He's doing 100 days of Homeland. It's been pretty awesome.
Techno Tim started the 100 days of Home Lab.
Tech Geek. Sorry, Tech Geek. But no, Techno Tim. That was pretty awesome. I've enjoyed watching some of it, checking out some of his posts.
Tech Geek says our Discord might rank second, but only because he moderates our Home Lab.
So, see.
Fair enough, but fight me. Anyway.
And we got 69 likes. No one like anything else.
That's right. Stop it there. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching episode 241 here on Talking Heads. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. You'll get exclusive access to the Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads. And hopefully next week I will have my voice back. But until then, keep it right here. And as always, we'll see you next week. Cheers, everyone.
See you guys. Cheers.